Siraj Yassin has leukemia and needs urgent treatment abroad. But Israel's war and blockade on Gaza is stopping that. His mother can only watch as her son's condition worsens.
My son Siraj was a normal boy. He was a very good student. He fell sick 2 months ago. I took him to the hospital and they diagnosed him with leukemia. He can't walk and started using a wheelchair 2 weeks ago. He is in constant pain. We give him a dose of morphine to relieve his pain and to let him sleep. He now lives on painkillers.
Yassin is also suffering from malnutrition. At Al-Aqsa Hospital in Deir el-Balah, he is not alone. There are malnourished children everywhere here, and doctors say they can't cope.
There is no food, no healthy food, no proper health services in all the Gaza Strip. This leads to more complicated cases.
The UN says children are starving as Israel continues to block the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza. According to the UN, more than 20 children have died of malnutrition in the north alone, and 31% are acutely malnourished. As a result of Israel's war and restrictions that completely contradict international law, Gazans again are on the brink of famine as malnutrition among Palestinians continue to spread so fast due to the lack of all kinds of basic humanitarian and medical supplies, where disease and even malnutrition are a deadly combination. Tareq, Azzoum, Al Jazeera, Deir el-Balah, Palestine.
Alexandra Seher is head of humanitarian policy and advocacy at Save the Children. She says the catastrophic humanitarian situation in Gaza could and should have been avoided.
Gaza is witnessing some of the worst levels of malnutrition, of child malnutrition especially, worldwide right now. And what's appalling is that it's entirely man-made. Children in Gaza are being starved, they're being deprived of clean water, they're being deprived of adequate medical assistance, and this is all being fueled by the systematic obstruction of humanitarian aid and the ongoing hostilities. To give you an example, there was a medical point in Tel Sultan that was addressing malnutrition, and that had to close this past week due to the attacks that we saw in the area. And so because of the ongoing hostilities, because of the ongoing bombardment, and because of the systematic and continued obstruction of humanitarian assistance, we fear that there is now going to be an acceleration of deaths due to malnutrition, starvation, disease, and dehydration, possibly even higher than what we are already seeing. Already, what we're seeing is just the tip of the iceberg. The numbers that have come in of children who have died of malnutrition, these are just the numbers of children who have managed to reach medical points and have had their deaths recorded. We actually fear that already the situation is much worse. I mean, back in March, the UN warned of famine. And we have not, as humanitarian organizations, been given the access to stave off that famine. And so we expect the situation to get worse. And in the South, we fear that the famine-like conditions that we saw in northern Gaza earlier this year are making their way and may already be present in southern Gaza.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.